Coach Ray, so once your camera's set and ready to go.
Good afternoon, I'm Coach Ray. This is my business. I do life coaching and hypnosis. And I want to talk a little bit about what hypnosis is. There's basically 4 types of hypnosis today. The first being your traditional type hypnosis, which I'm sure most people is aware of, where you have a hypnotist with a pendulum or a watch and they're dangling in front of your eyes. Well, that would be considered the traditional type hypnosis. The second type is Ericksonian hypnosis, which I'm certified in. I'm certified in the advanced level. And the difference between Ericksonian and traditional is with your traditional hypnosis, you're induced into a hypnotic state, but the hypnotist gives you direct commands or suggestions to make changes. Whether you want to stop smoking or whatever it is, they'll say you no longer want to smoke, you don't have the desire to smoke, and so on. But with Ericksonian hypnosis, it goes a little bit further than that. Milton Erickson is the one that developed it. He was a psychologist back in the 70s, and it took off from the 80s, becoming known as Ericksonian hypnosis. And the difference between that and traditional is, with Ericksonian, he used metaphors or stories instead of a direct command or suggestion. So as a hypnotist, it would be a little bit harder for me to develop a metaphor to fit whatever the situation is, whether it's smoking or losing weight or whatever. But to give you an example of what I would do, let's say somebody came in and they wanted to quit smoking. So I would develop a metaphor within the session to help them stop smoking. So at the beginning of the session, I'll ask a series of questions. Have you ever broke a leg or ever needed a splint or a crutch or something like that? So the metaphor would be, you once needed cigarettes to help you with your life, to help you with stress, just like you once needed a crutch to help you get around, and just like you no longer need those crutches, you no longer need to smoke. That's just a short little example on the difference between Ericksonian hypnosis and your traditional. The third type of hypnosis is NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. I'm certified at the master level of that. And NLP is considered waking hypnosis, where you're not induced into a hypnotic state, but it's just language patterns, certain words I use while talking to you to get you to make changes. A lot of salesmen take these courses for NLP. A lot of politicians. I don't know if you noticed, but the world's kind of crazy today with the politicians, and they want you to believe their side or this side, and they're using NLP type language to persuade you to their point of view or to vote for them and so on. So it's a form of hypnosis. And this has been going on for many, many years, that a lot of salesmen take these courses to persuade people to buy their products. The fourth type of hypnosis is self-hypnosis, which we all do. Whether you believe it or not, we all perform self-hypnosis. To give you an example, have you ever done something that was unfavorable and you're like, man, I'm so stupid, why did I do that? You say that to yourself, right? So when you say this over and over to yourself, you're programming your mind into negativity. So the next time you go to take on a task, you're thinking, I'm stupid, I can't do this, and your confidence is starting to go down because you're programming your mind that you can't do something. But you can do it on the other. You can flip it around and say positive things. You can say, I can overcome this. I can quit smoking. I can do this. And these are positive things. And if you say it enough time, it becomes a program within your subconscious mind. So the next time you go and take on this task, it's not so difficult. Well, the hypnosis today would be considered a watered-down version of the original hypnosis. Now, some form of hypnosis or another has been around for thousands of years. It's been traced back to the Egyptians, Sumerians, Hindus. A lot of different cultures use some type of hypnosis to perform their religious acts. There's even been, I believe in the Egyptians, had healing buildings, chambers, temples, and this is where they used hypnosis to help people heal. So it's thousands of years old, but the hypnosis that we know today actually started in 1775. And the person that developed this, he didn't even call it hypnosis. His name was Franz Mesmer. He was from Austria. He was a medical doctor. And he discovered that each person, plant, animal, had its own energy force. That we can heal ourselves through our own energy, through our mind and our body. If you have a disease, whether it's cancer, a toothache, pain, or whatever, we can alleviate that on our own. We don't need a doctor. So he was a medical doctor and he came up with this. Well, originally he thought in order to activate this energy field within us, we needed magnets and we needed energized water and so on. Well, it turned out that we don't need it, and a mesmerist was developed later on after Franz died. His pupils and his followers continued with his work, and it later became known as mesmerism. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that. So from about 1815 until about 1850, we had mesmerism. Then in 1850, another guy comes along. His name was James Braid. And he decided he wanted to take certain portions of mesmerism, and he developed hypnosis. And hypnosis comes from the word hypnos, which is the Greek god of sleep. So that's where hypnosis comes from. So mesmerism and hypnosis kind of ran side by side from 1850 until about 1920, 1930s. The mesmerism died off. Well, the reason that mesmerism died off is because it's a difficult art to learn. Because like I said, hypnosis today is considered a watered-down version of the original hypnosis, mesmerism, back in the 1800s. The original mesmerism hypnosis used very few words, but a lot of mental power from the mesmerist to induce someone into the hypnotic state. And when somebody is in this state through mesmerism, they can actually, the mesmerist can help the person heal. And this, I know it sounds a little scientific, a little sci-fi and so on, but from the 40s and 50s, 1840s and 1850s, they had a medical journal called the Zoist, Z-O-I-S-T, that documented all the findings, practicing, and so on of mesmerism and all the people that was healed through mesmerism. That medical doctors at the time, they couldn't heal certain things, cancers, and so on, so they used mesmerism to do it. So as a mesmerist, he would use his mental powers, and it's something that has to be developed. It's not like, you can come and learn it in one day and now you're a mesmerist. It's something that develops over a long period of time, and it's through your gaze, through your mental concentration. And a mesmerist has a powerful gaze. So he'll look at you and he won't blink. And as a master mesmerist, you have to be able to focus on an object without blinking up to 20 minutes. That is very difficult to do. If anybody can hold your eyes open for more than a minute, it starts burning, right? Well, I just recently became certified in mesmerism hypnosis. I'm probably one of the few in Florida, maybe even the country. And the reason I say the country is I tried to find who would teach mesmerism online. I looked online, and there was no one in the United States teaching it. There was only 3 or 4 people that I could find that taught mesmerism, the old style, from the 1800s. And one was in Austria, which is where Franz Mesmer was from, the original founder. Another is in France, but in order to take the one to France, you had to go there physically to his class. And another is in Australia. I took the course that was taught in Austria, the online course. I did the tests, and I passed it, got certified as a mesmerist, and now I'm in the process of taking the other online course that's in Australia. And the reason I'm doing this is, you can ask my wife, I constantly read, learn, watch videos. I'm always trying to find more and more and more to help me help people. So even though I'm certified as a master NLP practitioner and an advanced Ericksonian hypnotist, you would think, well, isn't that enough? But you can never learn enough about your business. If you want to take your business serious, you have to learn everything you can about it. And that's what I've decided to do. So I've actually got a library of the original books that were printed in the 1800s by mesmerists, psychologists, doctors that used mesmerism. And they're not all the physical book, but they're the printed photocopies of the original books. They're all on DVD-ROM, so I have probably 200 or 300 books. And I've acquired these 2 weeks ago. So in the last 2 weeks, I've read 10 books. Like I said, I'm constantly reading, learning more and more. And what hypnosis can be used for is stop smoking, lose weight, gain confidence. I did a commercial yesterday. I had the ad back here where I helped teenagers improve school grades. I had a teenager that was 15. He liked playing football, but he wasn't doing too good in school for his grades. So his mom brought him to me, and this was last year. This year, he's on the AB honor roll because of what I did to help him out. So I can help kids improve their school grades. To explain a little bit more about hypnosis, we all grow through it every day, if you realize it or not. If you have ever been driving down the road and that song comes on, that favorite song that reminds you of something that occurred in the past, maybe, a song that you danced with somebody with, or a song that you and your best friend had, and all of a sudden it pops up on the radio and now your memory is back there thinking of that time. You're physically driving the car, but your conscious mind is now somewhere else. Well, that somewhere else, that zoned out state, is a form of hypnosis. You're actually in a hypnotic state. So this occurs multiple times during the day. There's probably even a chance within the last 10 minutes of me talking that somebody zoned out because I said something that reminded you of something else. Now your mind went over there. So you temporarily went into a hypnotic state. It even happens when we read a book. We'll read a page, get to the end of the page, and like, I don't remember anything I just read because I was somewhere else, right? So you got to go back over and read it again. You're going into hypnosis, whether you believe it or not. So that's what hypnosis is. It's nothing to be scared of, be frightful of. You're going to wake up. I know there's been a lot of people talk about, well, you're not going to wake up from hypnosis. Well, if you wake up from your temporarily trance, you're going to wake up from hypnosis, because that's basically what hypnosis is. So if anybody wants to make any changes in their lives, I can help you through hypnosis and life coaching. As a life coach, I do a lot of motivational speaking, positive speaking, getting your frame of mind changed from negativity to positivity. That's it. Thank you.